Good morning and welcome to The Point for Monday, May 9th, 2022. We do apologize for the late start. We were working out some technical kinks, but I think we have it under control and we're ready to start this morning's program. Thank you, whichever platform you're using. Those of you on the Facebook page, the YouTube channel, the website, GBN TV channel 7, 11, and 20, and the folks always logged on to Classic 105.5, 105.9. Joining me virtually this morning, all the way from the Sister Isle of Carriacou, is the Community Program Officer for NADMA Carriacou, Bernice Date. Thank you very much, Ms. Date, for joining us. Appreciate your appearance on the program this morning.
Good morning, and thank you very much for having me. Special good morning to your listeners as well.
How's Carriacou this morning? How are the Sister Isles this morning?
Bright and sunny over here.
Okay, just making sure. So, Ms. Date, let's get right into it. Grenada, like the rest of the countries in the Atlantic, are getting ready for the 2022 Atlantic hurricane season, which starts next month, God willing, June 1st. What have preparations been like for NADMA Carriacou in getting the Sister Isles ready for what is expected to be another, I think it's an above normal hurricane season?
Okay, from Carriacou and Petit-Martinique end here, we at the Department of NADMA Carriacou, both Carriacou and Petit-Martinique, we have commenced our outreach program here in Carriacou and Petit-Martinique. We have thus completed a series of volunteer recruitments whereby we're trying to get as much people be involved with the disaster management process as it relates to the various community where they can, of course, assist in the event we should be faced with an emergency.
What does that entail in terms of the things and including the equipment that you need in case of an emergency?
Okay, so basically what we are doing, as I said, volunteer recruitment drive. That is where we go into the community to see if we can get persons who are willing to assist us in the event that we would have to activate either the Emergency Operations Center or the various shelter management committee. So we have under the shelter management committee, we have various roles and responsibility that we would like persons to assist in. So that's what we are doing basically at the moment from agency standpoint in getting us better prepared in the event that we have to respond.
How successful has it been for your voluntary equipment drive in getting residents on Carriacou and Petit-Martinique to play their role and play a part?
So far, we are doing pretty good. We have registered over 35 members so far. So we have not yet finished the other communities, but we have started. And of course, for the upcoming month of June, we intend to do as much more as possible.
Judging from the past, how fruitful has it been in getting the equipment that you may need during an emergency?
Well, I must say, from the national office, we have received a lot of assistance from the national office in terms of equipment. And now that we are into the new Emergency Operations Center, we do believe that, of course, we will see a much greater response from the national office.
And let's talk about the new Emergency Operations Center. What does it bring in terms of new equipment, new facilities, being able to do greater things on the Sister Isle? What a role does the new Emergency Operations Center bring or play?
Okay, well, of course, yes. An Emergency Operations Center is basically a central area or location that is responsible for carrying out the principles of emergency preparedness and emergency management or a disaster management functions, which involves strategically organizing resources to lessen the harm that disaster causes. It involves a systematic approach to managing the responsibilities of disaster prevention, preparedness, response, and recovery. So we are equipped with a new Emergency Operations Center, and with that, of course, it includes it serves as a main function. Of course, we of course here follow, I believe, the incident command system. And that includes the information management, the collecting, analyzing, and the sharing of information, resource management, coordinating support for resources, need and requests, and planning and management emergency shelters. We also do a lot of logistics in an emergency operations center. So basically, It's quite a lot that happens when we have to activate as an emergency operations center. And it's important that we have persons who are trained in the specific roles that they have to function when the time to come. We have been doing quite a lot here. We continue to do the best that we can from both Carriacou and Petit-Martinique ends. And I believe the best we can do is to educate the general public to be better prepared in emergence of any emergency, not just for hurricane, but also other hazards that we can be affected by.
Speaking of other hazards, I know NADMA has been making efforts to prepare the island for whatever hazards may come about, including tsunamis and the like. Has NADMA Carriacou been doing the same?
Yes, of course. We here, as I said, we do not leave out Petit-Martinique in anything that we are doing from the national office end. National office, we have every year we participate in what is called the Carib Wave exercise, which is held in the month of March. And this year, Carriacou would have participated, and we worked along with the Christian David Child Development Center, whereby we were able to do an evacuation and, of course, public education as it relates to earthquake and tsunami, and of course, ensuring that the younger ones that are protected in that particular institution. So we continue to do as much as we can. Over the years, we have done a series of tsunami evacuation drills with all the primary schools on the island. So we don't just focus on hurricane or hurricane season. We focus on all hazards. We would have also worked along with the police department, the RGPF, fire department, where we conducted drills, fire drills, and also fire prevention and safety in the primary schools, secondary schools, and also the Top Hill Senior Citizen Home for the aged.
There's a avid viewer, listener of GBN that usually asks about assistance for residents on Aileron. And we've asked our Grenadian-based officials, and now let me put it out to you on the Sister Isle. How or what efforts have been made to ensure that the folks that are on Aileron at any point during a disaster that they can get the assistance that they may require?
Well, of course, I believe that would be from the national end, because we are all the way to the northern side of Carriacou. But of course, they can, of course, work along with the national office and providing much needed assistance. I believe once you can get the information out there to communicate and to ensure that they are safe, I believe we can also do that. But of course, I think we can liaise with the national office to see what we can do for the people of Aileron. It's something that we have to take into consideration as it relates to disaster management and preparedness.
Let's look at Petit-Martinique. You mentioned Petit-Martinique is never left out of the conversation, out of plans. What are some of the requirements or the needs for our residents in Petit-Martinique when it comes to whether it be preparation or in the midst of a disaster?
I believe for Petit-Martinique, one of the major challenges that we are faced with is that of communication. This year, I believe that we will be working very hard to ensure that we provide that much needed assistance as it relates to communication, not just for Petit-Martinique, but in order that we could be able to communicate from Petit-Martinique on a national level for Carriacou, Petit-Martinique, and Grenada. That is something that we are working on as an agency to that we bring much better communication to the island of Petit-Martinique as it relates to response.
How much of a challenge has it been? Especially communication is integral, especially when you're preparing for a disaster. Has it posed much of a challenge, or you just think it's something that needs to be worked on?
Well, for the previous years, I remember during the period of Omar and Emily response, we were okay. We have not faced any major challenges, but of course, these are some of the things that we have looked at as the weaknesses as it relates to the department. What is it that we can do to better our services as it relates to communication? I think communication is one of the areas that we have highlighted on both weaknesses for Carriacou as well as for Petit-Martinique. And from the national end, we would be receiving that assistance. As I said, we do have a new emergency operations center, and we should be fully equipped in order to respond in the event that something should happen here in Carriacou and Petit-Martinique. So I believe we will be receiving much assistance in that area as it relates to communication, whereby we can communicate not just from a national level, but also a regional and international.
Emergency shelters on the islands, Carriacou and Petit Martinique, how equipped are they? Are they fully ready in the event? I know in past years we have had hurricanes starting before the official start of the season. So in the event that there's an emergency, how ready are the emergency shelters on the sister islands? And I can't see your face. Yeah. You're out of the next way. Turn it the next way. Right. Yes, go ahead.
In terms of the shelters, as you know, the shelter management is under the Ministry of Education, and we normally utilize the schools on the island. I believe over the years when we would have activated, we have been doing pretty good in that area, in that we have the equipment, equipment such as backup generators, sleeping cots, and those things. We do have those equipment, but we have never really faced a serious challenge as it relates to equipment for the shelters. We also have what is considered to be the shelter management team. I must say we have a plus in that area in terms of activation. We do see members coming out and being there at the shelter. If we have to activate, persons do normally come out, and we like to commend our volunteer team who continue to be with us over the years. So we have been doing good in that area. Of course, we can strengthen that area. It's important that we continue to strengthen the area of disaster management, because at the end of the day, if a disaster has to happen, every one of us will be affected, either directly or indirectly.
All right. Ms. Dade, let's take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and continue the discussion. This is To The Point. We are speaking with the Community Program Officer for NADMA Carriacou, Bernice Dade. Much more when we return.
You mentioned the wing high, and you have things like man, you must come back, you know. We have the low power that.
It is kind of like the same man, and it's just different name for the same kind of thing.
And last but not least, I just want to say to all the men who saw me, call me, and ask for a piece of cake. I'm baking this weekend.
Join us Fridays at 8 on GBN Television, K105 FM, GBN's Facebook page, and YouTube channel for We Culture.
Are you a small business and would like your business to grow? Do you have an event, products, or services that people should know about? Be wise. Advertise. Book your spot on GBN Shopping Guide. Be part of Grenada's biggest advertising medium, the Grenada Broadcasting Network. Call our sales department now on 440-2446 or 440-3033 or GBN plus the number sign. Email us at sales@gbn.gd. Special conditions apply.
The most anticipated family fun-filled event on the GBN calendar is back. The Maggie King of the Grill. Join us on June 4th at Mont Rouge. Be part of the culinary masterpiece as the best grillers on island compete for the coveted title of the Maggie King of the Grill. Think you have what it takes? Be part of the action. June 4th. Book your spot. If not, step away from the grill if you can't handle the heat.
Welcome back to The Point. We're speaking with the Community Program Officer for the National Disaster Management Agency's Carriacou office, Bernice Dade. Ms. Dade, let's talk briefly about educational efforts on the sister isle. It's always important, like you mentioned, communication is important. And I think it's also part of the communication process is ensuring everybody's on the same page and everybody understands what needs to be done. How is NADMA Carriacou trying to educate residents on the sister isles so that they can be better prepared for a disaster?
Okay, so for next week, Tuesday, that's the 17th of May, we plan to have a series of village meetings from the month of May the 17th to the 31st of May. We intend to go into various communities whereby we will have preparedness meeting as it relates to hurricane season, organizing your family disaster plan, and also we do intend to fund subcommittees for shelter management in the various communities where we intend to have shelters.
And you also have a quiz?
Yes, we are also planning a radio quiz for the month of June. So during the month of June, we will be having a radio quiz for all primary school on the island. It's something that we have been doing for the past 2 years, and we do believe that it is important that we continue to educate the young ones, especially, and to better prepare them for hazards, not just for hurricane, but for tsunami, for volcano, for fire, all the hazards that we be faced by here in Carriacou and Petit-Martinique.
Before we go on, just inviting those of you who may have comments, questions, queries, concerns. This is your chance to ask them. You can call us on the landline 435-2041. You can message us on WhatsApp. It's also 435-2041. And you can continue to post your comments, questions, queries, concerns on the GBN, Grenada Broadcasting Network's Facebook page, and the GBN Production YouTube channel. Simulation exercises. How often do you have them in Carriacou, whether it's dealing with hurricane, tsunami, fire?
Well, I do believe over the past year we have conducted one exercise per year. Due to COVID, over the years 2017, 2016, 2015, we would have conducted at least 2 simulation exercises. We always try to conduct one with the schools, of course. So we have completed all the primary schools on the island as it relates to evacuation, tsunami preparedness. Our intention is to go into the secondary school, but because of COVID, we could not have done that over the past 2 years. However, we do plan on conducting one sometime pretty soon, before the end of the year, once the space permits us.
And as you mentioned COVID, that was going to bring me to my next question. COVID, like everything else, has put a damper, a hinder on mostly everything, if not everything. And how has it affected, if any, your planning, your preparation for the hurricane season, or emergency shelters, or even activities at the Emergency Operations Center?
Well, I must say yes, COVID has put a dent on a lot of plans that we had as a department, continue to have as a department. Of course, everything we do, we have to take into consideration that COVID is still here. So we have to plan with the implementation of including the COVID guidelines and protocol. So of course, if we don't have to activate the shelter, it means that we have to activate the shelter, taking in mind that we still have COVID, and of course, prepare in the event that we are receiving shelteries. This is what we have to do. And do the setting as it relates to the COVID guidelines and protocol within the various community once we have to activate. We have been planning, as I said earlier, but because of COVID and we also always have to look at the human aspect of it as well, and human resources. So there are some things that we can do, but of course we believe in protecting everyone. So we try and minimize whatever it is we are doing for the betterment of everyone, ensure that we still perform as an organization.
The linkages, communication, cooperation. That's the word I'm looking for. The cooperation between NADMA Carriacou and NADMA on the mainland. How has that helped with the work that you do on the Sister Isles? Or do you think it needs to be improved to better serve residents on the Sister Isle and even on the mainland?
Well, I must commend the national team. We have a very good collaboration and communication with the national team at main office. And I must also mention the past coordinators, Mr. Sylvan McIntyre, Mr. Walters, Ms. Samantha Dixon, Mr. Peters. We have Ms. Tonya Heisen-Bernal. We have been receiving, I believe, good service and good assistance from national office. Whenever we are asked for certain things, of course, we do get them. And I believe we have that very good rapport going. I hope it continues. And of course, I would not complain. To be honest with you, Blossom, I believe we have been receiving what we're supposed to receive. Maybe sooner or later we might be getting more. So I must commend them, and I must commend the communication that we continue to have for Carriacou, Grenada, and of course Petit-Martinique. We have been doing good, and I must commend them on that. We look forward for their continued assistance wherever possible.
All right, we seem to be getting a phone call. Let's go to this caller. Good morning, caller. Good morning, caller. Hello. Okay, we seem to have lost that caller. All right, let me go back to the same question in relation to Aileron. One of the WhatsAppers has pointed out that the communication system, not just providing, I guess, physical assistance, but the communication system for the users, residents, I call them residents of Aileron, needs to be stepped up. What do you think can be done in that area? Keeping in mind that it's not as populated as Carriacou or Grenada, and they're in the middle, more or less.
Well, I believe what can happen there is that the people of Island Room and the national office can have at least a meeting in that area. I'm not too sure. I'm not too familiar with Island Room, so I'm just suggesting from here that the best thing is to have a communication and to see how you can proceed or to better prepare them in the event of an emergency. I think that can be done from the national office end. Communication, of course, discussion to see how they can start and or even strengthen the communication system between Island and Grenada.
There was an instance I'm trying to remember how long ago that was, when Carriacou and by extension PT Martinique, you were, how should I put it? I'm trying to think of how to phrase it. You were affected, let's put it that way, affected by some passing hurricane systems, more so than those of us here in Grenada. And even with the eruption of the volcano in St. Vincent, when we talk falling ash, most of it fell in Carriacou compared to mainland. What was the bounce back like? How resilient are the sister isles in bouncing back from a disaster, whether it be hurricane or the ash fall?
I believe we have been very resilient as a community, I believe, because of our closeness and family-oriented. I believe we have always worked together in the event of any emergency situations like that. We see people coming together. So it's important we were able to provide assistance to our neighboring islands, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, with much needed supplies, which was, of course, provided by the community in Carriacou, both Carriacou and Petit Martinique. So I believe we are a resilient people. Sometimes, as I said, during the course of registration, when we were doing the volunteer drive, most people were like, no, I don't want to register. Just call me. If anything happens, call me. I'll show up. But I cannot give that sort of commitment right now because, of course, I have my job or whatever the case it is that they are doing. But, of course, they are willing to assist in the event that anything should happen. We can just call upon them.
And is that a greater part of how Carriacou has been able to cope? Volunteerism and community spirit?
Yes, of course. Because, as I always say, because of our closeness, and when you look at Carriacou and Petit Martinique, we are all related, either the father side of the family or the mother side of the family. So we always see people coming together as small islands. We always see the assistance, and the people are very compassionate, and they are very caring, and they would give back. I mean, when something happens, you can come and check me for this, or we can assist you with that. This, if you have to send something out, we can provide you with this. So it's always there, and we hope that spirit will continue as small islands, getting persons together and assisting where possible.
Relief efforts. In the event that there's a disaster and Carriacou needs, whether it's food items, sanitary items, just relief efforts, mattresses, whatever the case may be, is it efficient enough, based on past experiences, in getting relief material to the sister isles?
We have been receiving assistance for the past 2 years ago. We, as I said, we work along with national office. National office do provide us with whatever assistance we may need, whatever equipment or items or supplies that we may need here for Carriacou and Petit Martinique. We have also received some assistance from the Youth Emergency Action Committee, that's the YAC team. They have assisted us in distributing over 200 blankets. So most of the time we do get as much assistance as possible. National office, as I said, they do provide that assistance if it is needed. Of course, we can call on the national office for assistance.
And I know water has been a challenge for Karakou. Most of the water are water that, residents catch from the heavens. I like that. Is this a challenge during a disaster in terms of their water supply?
Well, yeah, I believe water would, of course, pose a serious issue for us here in Karakou and Petit Martinique. Over the years, we have had shortage of water, in the dry season because of our water catchment system. Sometimes we run out of water. But I must add, though, that we have seen the implementation of the water project by the Nawasa team. They have already completed that project in Petit Martinique, and the people in Petit Martinique are very happy. We have not yet received much complaints about them as it relates to the shortage of water. I think it's something that has lessened the burden of the people of Petit Martinique. Karakou, they have started the process here in Karakou. So the situation of water shortage, I hope in the near future we might not be experiencing, the things that we used to experience in the dry season. But we are getting there. This year is not that bad, however, but we are still praying for the little rain.
I can imagine as much. Let's take another break and then we're going to come back and continue the discussion with Bernice Date of NADMA Karakou's office. We'll be right back.
Mr. mentioned the Winkai, then you have things like Manumos, must come back, We have the low power there.
It is kind of like the same man, and it's just different name for the same kind of thing.
And last but not least, I just want to say to all the men who saw me, call me, and ask for a piece of cake, I'm baking this weekend.
Join us Fridays at 8 on GBN Television, K105 FM, GBN's Facebook page and YouTube channel for We Culture.
Are you a small business and would like your business to grow? Do you have an event, products or services that people should know about? Be wise. Advertise. Book your spot on GBN Shopping Guide. Be part of Grenada's biggest advertising medium, the Grenada Broadcasting Network. Call our sales department now on 440-2446 or 440-3033 or GBN plus the number sign. Email us at sales@gbn.gd. Special conditions apply.
Welcome back to The Point. We're speaking with the Community Program Officer at the National Disaster Management Agency's Karakou office, Bernice Date. Ms. Date, tell us about the relationship between NADMA Karakou and stakeholders, including private businesses, as well as bodies who may be helping out NADMA, donating to NADMA in times of need. And so what's that relationship like? Do you see the need for improvement, or is it sustainable as we speak?
Ms. Paulson, what I can say, Karakou and Petit Martinique is very, what should I say, unique in its own ways. we have been having, since I have been there as the community program officer for the past 9 years, I believe, we continue to have a very good relationship with our stakeholders as well as our individual personal small businesses. We continue to have that very good rapport with them. Whenever they are called upon, they would come on, they would assist us. They have also provided support in the area of the quiz. Last year, we were able to give each student who participated in that quiz a gift, which is a first aid kit, which was partially packed with supplies as it relates to disaster and preparedness. So we were able to give each student a first aid kit coming from the stakeholders within the community of Karakou and Petit Martinique. We continue to have that good relationship with them, and we do hope that we will keep that going. The stakeholders as well as private organizations or body are part of the local emergency action committee. So in the event of any emergency, I do believe that we are planning to have a meeting before the start of the hurricane season. This meeting, of course, will be spearheaded by the acting permanent secretary in the Ministry of Caribbean and Diplomatic Affairs to see how prepared that these organizations are in the event they can be affected by a hurricane or an earthquake. You know what it is like. Are they prepared as an organization? Do they have a standard operating procedure as it relates to hurricane preparedness, or do they even have a disaster plan for their business? That's something that we are looking at from the agency standpoint here. And of course, before the season starts, we do hope to have a meeting with our stakeholders and private organizations here in Caribou.
As we prepare for the start of the hurricane season and whatever disaster else may come up, what would you say is the most urgent need or immediate need for Carriacou and PT Martinique in any area at all?
What is the most immediate need for us there in Caribou? I believe the most immediate need is communication. We must be equipped with communication tools in the event that something should happen here on small island, that we can communicate with the national office or communicate with our sisters in PT Martinique. I think that is something that is top priority for us. Preparedness, it's important that we learn to prepare, mitigate, to get assistance with other agencies like GBN in trimming the trees. We are close to the season, and of course to work along with Works Department in ensuring that the drains are cleared and properly cleaned in the event that we have to have runoff and smooth runoff of water in particular areas where we have seen vulnerable communities from time to time being affected. I think this is what we have to concentrate on as an agency.
Anything else that you'd like to add as we wrap up the program?
Well, what I can say, thank you for having me this morning. It was a very good discussion, I believe. And we still have a lot to do as an agency. We all have to be prepared, and persons who are willing to be part of NADMA, Carriacou, and PT Martinique, feel free to stop by at the new Emergency Operations Center in Bel Air, or you can give us a call at the ministry number is 443-6026, or you can call our direct line on 443-9335. That's a NADMA direct line for Carriacou and PT Martinique.
Thank you very much, Ms. Date. Appreciate you. Thank you for the information you shared with us this morning. Hopefully, those of you who are tuned in, especially from the Sister Isles, you got some information that would be pertinent and important as you get ready for the start of the hurricane season. So thank you, Ms. Date, and enjoy the rest of your day. Have yourself a good week as well.
Thank you, Ms. Blossom, and all the best to you and your listeners. Take care. Have a good day.
You too. That was the Community Program Officer at NADMA Carriacou, Bernice Date. We thank her so very much for being our guest this morning. Going to let her run off and get back to some things that she has planned for today. So we're going to bring an early end to the program this morning. But I'd like to thank you, viewers and listeners, for tuning in to The Point. Always a pleasure. Always appreciate your listenership and your viewership. Thank you so very much for your time. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. Have yourselves a safe and enjoyable day today. Remember, COVID-19, employ your own personal restrictions and protocols. There are over 800 active cases as we speak, and those are the known cases. So please protect yourselves, whatever you're doing, wherever you're going. There's no harm in wearing your masks still, even though there's no longer a national mandate. There's no harm in walking with your own hand sanitizers. I see there are some stores that have stopped it altogether. So there's no harm in walking with your own and sanitizing when you enter and or exit. So please stay safe and protect yourselves and the lives of your loved ones. That's the end of the program today. Have yourselves an enjoyable Monday.